problem. Let me read one scripture to y'all. Give me Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26. Watch this. Give me Psalm chapter 119.
Verse, book of Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26. For if we sin willfully after that we have received the knowledge of the truth.
So right now y'all receiving the knowledge of the truth. So he said if you sin after that, go ahead.
There remain no more sacrifice for sin.
For what?
But a certain fearful looking for of judgment and a fiery indignation which shall devour the adversary.
He said, God is saying, if you get this understanding and then you go back and do what he said, you're going to get destruction. Read that.
Book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 59. I thought on my ways.
That's what you're bringing this out. You got to think on your ways. That's right.
And turn my feet unto thy testimonies.
You got to turn your feet to God's laws.
I made haste.
I did what?
I made haste.
I didn't wait. I didn't bullshit around. I did this that. I made haste.
And delayed not to keep thy commandments.
So don't play around with it, because as we warn you, now you're judge. Right. You can't just, we're not just out here telling, we have to. Give me that in right quick, Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 17. Our job is to come out here. We ain't out here for just playing around. I could be doing anything right now. I'm out here teaching our people because we got to warn you. Watch this.
Chapter 3, verse 17.
Go ahead.
Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel.
That's what we out here doing, trying to warn our people.
Therefore hear the word at my mouth.
Go ahead.
Give them warning.
So we heard the word of the Lord, and now we got to give you warning. Go ahead.
Give them warning from me. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die.
Go ahead.
And thou givest him not warning.
So he says, if he tells you what to do, and I don't give y'all warning,
nor speakest to warn the wicked from this wicked way,
go ahead,
to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity.
He's going to die anyway. Go ahead.
But his blood will I require at thine hand.
You're going to require it at my hand because I didn't warn you. If I know somebody was coming to kill everybody that's on this block, and I knew it, and I didn't warn y'all, y'all go into the store, and you survived. I'm just as wicked, damn right. That's what the Lord is saying. That's correct. Keep reading.
Yet, if thou warn the wicked,
if I warn you,
and he turn not from his wickedness,
just go back and buy in that store on the Sabbath day,
nor from his wicked way,
what's going to happen?
He shall die in his iniquity.
For what?
But thou hast delivered thy soul.
It's off my hand. It's on you now. So the more you read this Bible, you find out, man, all this stuff is literally, people have the ideology that Christ came and changed something. This is literally going in one circle. Nothing's changed. Christ came and said the same thing. Same thing Ezekiel said, same thing all the prophets said. You just got to do it.
Right.
We just never did it.
Gotta live by it.
We're suffering the curses because we never did it. Give me one more scripture. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. Remember, all we teaching is commandments. We got to keep it. That's the instructions. It's like God gave us a whole list of instructions. So he's telling you to just do them. We just refuse to do them. Watch that.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10, verse number 12. And now, Israel.
Now that you know you Israel.
What do the Lord thy God require of thee?
God requires something of us, but what?
But to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways.
Not some, all. Go ahead.
And to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
And to what?
To keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command this day for thy good.
He said it's for your good if you keep it. If you stop eating the pork, shrimp, the crab, the oyster, you know how much better you'll feel? Absolutely. I stopped doing that. No more pain and aches and stuff. I'm a little older now. Yeah, exactly. Good.
So y'all see the current theme with the telling? All right, so go to Psalm 119. What you want? Understand? Psalm
119.
I can't.
Oh yeah. So
Open that can, yeah.
111.
The book of Psalms, chapter 111, verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 111, verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
So that's the beginning of the wisdom.
A a good understanding
You want to understand these scriptures?
have all they that do his commandments. His praise endures forever.
So, see that that's, you want the, Joshua, what?
1 and 8. Joshua chapter 1. Joshua chapter
1,
1.
verse 8. Sort of verse 7. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe all according to the law,
All according to what's written in this book. Laws that we just gave you that.
which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand
On this way.
or to the left,
Stay on that path. Stay on that path. Wait.
that thou mayest prosper.
You what?
Prosper
Go ahead.
wheresoever thou go.
Wherever you go, you're going to prosper. Keep these commandments. The laws of the book. Go ahead.
Verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth,
Be always keep this book of the law in your mouth. Keep it on your mind. Go ahead.
but thou shalt meditate therein
There you go.
day and night,
And what?
and thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous,
Right.
and then thou shalt have good success.
Yes. So saying that it's such thing as bad success also. So he said, when you're doing this here, you will have good success. You understand what I'm saying? Let's keep the commandments. That's what we're talking about. Every time we turn around. Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes on 12 and 13.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes 12 and 13
Bring it out.
again. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole
Now
matter.
this is it, because we know King Solomon is like he's the wisest man in the book. You know what I'm saying? Had riches and women, gold, yeah, everything. Everything that any man can desire he had. He said this is the conclusion of everything that I've ever had, everything that I've ever done, everything that I've ever seen, right? Go ahead.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter.
Right.
Fear God.
Fear
Keep
God.
His commandments.
Keep his commandments.
But this is the whole duty of
So
man.
this is the duty of every man, every Israelite that's in this book, that's in this world, that God's chosen. This is their whole duty. This is what they're supposed to be doing. Keep the commandments what?
For God shall bring every work into judgment,
Everything that you do, go ahead.
but every secret thing,
Yes.
whether it be good or whether it be
All right.
Everything that you do, God gonna bring it into judgment. Whether it's good or whether it's good. It's all about keeping these commandments.
Y'all have any questions?
No, no.
That's a lot of information.
Y'all just made my brain open.
How many gates to the heaven? How many gates are there?
12.
Names on the gates? It's a pop quiz, so
Not the Gentiles. It's the
children.
children of Israel.
Let me, since y'all here, give me Exodus chapter 1, verse 1. I want y'all to hear this out. Watch this.
Book of Acts chapter 1, verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel,
Now we're about to go through the names of the children of Israel, right?
which came into Egypt.
Yeah.
Every man and his household came with Jacob.
Jacob is the forefather. Jacob name was changed to Israel. Now these are his children, right? Go ahead.
Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls.
So this was them going into going into Egypt, right? Now as Moses came and took them out of Egypt, right? Give me Exodus chapter 3, verse 10.
Book of Acts chapter 3, verse 10.
Go ahead.
Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh,
God telling Moses, I'm gonna send you to Pharaoh.
that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt.
So he's taking the children of Israel out of Egypt. So God is not for everybody. Give me 11 and 7. Watch this.
Book of Exodus chapter 11, verse
This is how
7.
God looks at things.
But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue
Go ahead.
against man or beast, that ye may know
That you may know
how the Lord do put a
the
difference
law for the difference
between the Egyptians
between the Egyptians, the Africans,
and Israel.
Israelites. The Israelites, even though we look like the Egyptians, he said, I'm putting a difference between them, not the same people. Right? So that's why he's saying, I'm putting a difference between them. Right? Now watch this. Give me Deuteronomy 1 and 1. So now Moses takes them out of Egypt, brings them to the wilderness.
Deuteronomy, chapter
Just
1,
leading
verse
up
1.
to us being here today.
So we was in the wilderness.
Yeah. Yes. Guess what? We're going back there.
We
I'm
did.
going to show you. I'm going to show you.
Deuteronomy, chapter 1 and 1.
Go ahead.
These be the words which Moses spake unto all of Israel on this side of Jordan in the wilderness.
So this is now you got a whole gang of people that you just took out of Egypt, brought to the wilderness. Now you got to start giving them laws, statutes, and commandments. So as you start giving them laws, statutes, and commandments, this is the covenant that God makes with the children of Israel. Deuteronomy 28 and 1.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1.
I'll just skip it through so y'all could understand our logic. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy
So
God,
he's talking to the Israelites, said if they will listen to God,
to observe to do all his
to
commandments,
do all, not some, do all his commandments,
which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high, above all nations of the earth.
so he said, I'm going to take y'all and make y'all the top nation on the planet.
That's right.
But here's the flip side.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 14,
15.
15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
But if the Israelites don't listen,
to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, then all these curses,
all these what?
all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So if you don't listen, I'm going to put a bunch of curses on you, right? And let's see what they choose.
It's the book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse 11. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law,
He said they transgressed against God. Go ahead.
even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore, the curse is poured upon us.
So we got the curse, right? Go ahead.
And the oath that is written in the law of Moses,
ahead.
the servant of God, because we have sinned against him.
We sinned against God. We didn't do what he said.
And he had confirmed his word,
Made everything that he said will happen to us.
which
confirmed it.
he spake against us, and against our judge that judged us, by bringing upon us
But bringing upon the children of Israel.
a great evil.
He said this was a great evil he brought upon the Israelites. Go ahead.
For under the whole heaven have not been done, has been done upon Jerusalem.
He's saying, what he's saying right there, he's saying out of all different captivities of people went through different things, he said these Israelites went through the worst. So when you think in history of the worst things that happened to any group of people, transatlantic slave trade, which is in the Bible, transatlantic slave trade, rape, rob, pillaging of our village, the people that was here, that was already here, they got slaughtered and destroyed, took their land and culture and everything else. They were stripped of their language, their original tongue and everything, right? That's the worst thing ever happened to anybody. That's how we know we children of Israel. Go back to verse 45. Watch
Verse
this.
45, and it reads,
This is the
moreover,
curse. This is how we know.
moreover, all these curses,
All the curses that's listed in from 16 on down is a list of curses. I just jumped to 45. Watch this.
shall come upon
He
thee,
said them curses are going to come upon us.
and shall pursue
He
thee,
said it's going to follow you. Wherever you go, it's going to follow you, pursue you. Go ahead.
and overtake
And
thee,
overtake you.
till thou be destroyed.
Why?
Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
He's telling you the reason why we still won't listen. Go ahead.
to keep his commandments
Yeah.
and his statutes, which he commanded thee.
Go ahead.
And they
The day is the curses.
shall be upon thee
For what?
for a sign.
He said the curses are going to be because we stripped of our language, our culture, who we are. He said, but I'm going to put the curse is going to be an identifier for you to remember. That's how we know, like, this place is called Silver Saver because it's a sign that says that. But we're going to be stripped of our culture and our language. So he said, I'm going to put an identifier on you. These curses don't follow you. Go ahead.
For a sign
They're going to be on you for a sign.
and for a
And you're
wonder,
going to be wondering why you're going through all this stuff.
and upon thy
Your
seed
seed is your children.
forever.
For how long? So
Forever.
it's going to remain that sign for you to remember who you are. Go ahead.
Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things.
Go ahead.
Therefore shalt thou serve thy
He
enemies.
said, since you don't want to serve me, I'm going to make you serve your enemies. And he's going to have to explain who your enemies are. Go ahead.
Which the Lord shall send against
The
thee
Lord sends these enemies against us.
in hunger
Your enemy going to control your food.
and in thirst
Your enemy going to control your water.
and in
Your
nakedness
enemy going to control your clothing.
and in want of all
Anything
things.
you want, you have to go to your enemy for. Go ahead.
And he
Shall do what?
shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck,
Put yokes of iron upon our necks to win.
until he have destroyed
The
thee.
yokes of iron are gone. We've been destroyed. We don't know who we are. We don't know where we come from. We say we black, African American. All those things are Bible, Proverbs. We're the children of Israel. We've been destroyed. Right? Give me 68.
Verse 68.
Watch this curse.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt
He
again.
said, this curse, I'm going to bring you back into Egypt. That word Egypt means slavery or bondage, which he's about to prove.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 2.
Go ahead.
And it reads, I am the Lord thy God,
Go ahead.
which have brought thee out of the land of
He
Egypt,
said, I'm the Lord that brought you out of the land of Egypt.
out of the house of bondage.
It's calling the house of bondage or the house of slavery. So it's calling, it's using Egypt as synonymous with slavery. So when you're going back to that curse again, read verse 20 and 68.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again
He's going to bring you back into slavery or bondage again.
with
He
ships.
said, but this time, now this happened almost 6,000 years ago. He said, but this time you're going into slavery on slave ships. That never happened at that time. He's telling you this is how you're going to go on slave ships. Nobody went that way but us. Go ahead.
By the way of I spake unto
Folks
thee.
said the same way I'm telling you, it's the same will happen because we was like, man, whatever. I just seen a damn sea split in half. You think I'm going back into slavery again? That's not happening. But Moses said the same way I'm telling you, it's the same way it's going to happen. Go ahead.
Thou shalt see it no more again.
Never going to see your homeland again.
And there
Once you got off them slave ships,
ye shall be sold
To who?
unto your enemies
you'll be sold to the people that bought you. Go ahead.
for bondmen
Slave man,
and bondwomen.
slave woman.
And no man shall buy
And
you.
guess what? None of your brothers going to redeem you. You're going to stay right there in the land of your captivity and serve out your sentence. This is a prison for us. We've been brought here to serve out the curses of God. We belong back. Remember I told you we was going back to the wilderness? Watch this. Ezekiel. Watch this.
Ezekiel chapter 20.
We're going back to the wilderness. This is what God, you ever heard of the rapture? That's when he's going to rapture us back to the wilderness. Possibly. That's what the book says. Go ahead.
It's the book of Ezekiel chapter 20 verse 33.
Go ahead.
As I live, said the Lord God,
Mhm.
surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out
The fury poured out because it's coming back with anger. Go
will I
ahead.
rule over you,
Go ahead.
and I will bring you out from the
He's
people,
going to pull us out from all these different nations.
and will gather you out of the countries
Go ahead.
wherein you are
We're
scattered,
scattered in slavery. So he's pulling us back out of these countries where we was brought into slavery, right? Go ahead.
with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm
Go ahead.
and with fury poured out,
Go ahead.
and I will bring you into the wilderness of the people,
Going back to that same wilderness we were brought in with Moses. Go ahead.
and there will I plead with you face to face,
He'll deal with us directly because he's coming to redeem us. Go ahead.
like as I pleaded with your
He say
fathers.
the same. That's how you know this is in the last. Is in the end because the same way he said it's going to be in the same way I dealt with Moses them in the wilderness. Right. Go ahead.
In the wilderness of the land of Egypt.
Go ahead.
So will I plead with you,
Uh-huh.
said the Lord God,
Mhm.
and I will cause you to pass under the rod.
He's going to correct us. That rod means he's going to whoop us into submission. Right. Go ahead.
And I will bring you out, I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
He's going to bring us in the fullness of the new covenant. Because right now we're under grace. He's giving us time to get it right. We got to keep these commandments. Go ahead.
And I will purge out from among you the rebels.
Those rebels are the people that don't want to keep no commandment, that kept breaking the commandments and every time we broke the commandments, we kept going back into slavery. So he said he's going to purge out the rebels from amongst us. Go ahead.
And them that transgressed against me.
That won't keep the commandments. Go ahead.
And I will bring them forth out of the countries where they sojourn.
Go ahead.
Where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Egypt.
They're not getting into the kingdom of heaven. They're going to be destroyed right there in the wilderness. He literally gives you how it goes. Like give me one more precept and then I'm going to let you go. I know I'm going deep because we study all day, so it's a lot of things on our mind. Give me Nehemiah chapter 9. Give me Nehemiah chapter 9. Start at verse 25. Watch this.
Book of Nehemiah, chapter 9, verse 25.
This was what's happening to us. Go ahead.
And they took strong cities
Go ahead.
and a fat land.
So this is what we was doing. We were back when we came out of Egypt, when God was with us. We was taking over strong cities and conquering people, right? Taking over our land, right? Go ahead.
And possess houses
Go ahead.
full of all goods,
Go ahead.
wells, dig, vineyards and olive yards,
He blessed us. He was with us, right? Go ahead.
and fruit trees
Mhm.
in abundance.
Go ahead.
So they did eat
Mhm.
and were filled,
So we did eat. We was living good. We was, yay, we win, right? Go ahead.
and became fat,
And became proud. We was like, we the best, everybody else nothing. Go ahead.
and delighted themselves in thy great goodness.
Uh-huh.
Nevertheless, they were disobedient
We stopped keeping the commandments.
and rebelled against thee,
Uh-huh. They won't do nothing God said.
and cast thy law behind their backs,
Man, the hell with the rest of you talking about. I don't want to do that no more. Go ahead.
and slew thy prophets,
Starts killing all the people that's telling us to do the right thing, right? These are the rebels, right? Go ahead.
which testified against them
Uh-huh.
to turn them to thee,
Mhm.
and they wrought great provocations.
Provocation. Yeah.
Therefore, thou deliverest them into the hand of their enemies,
Same thing he said before. This happened over and over again. He said, since you don't want to listen, I'm going to let the enemies come against you. Exactly.
Yeah.
Go
who
ahead.
vexed them.
Uh-huh.
And in the time of their trouble, when they cried unto thee,
Uh-huh.
thou heardest them from heaven.
And did what?
And according to thy manifold mercies, thou gavest them saviors.
So what we would do was going through a whole circle again. So we'll cry out to God and say, God save us. God to send somebody and like a Joshua or Daniel, somebody to get us out of the situation, and then we'll get free. And guess what we'll do? Go ahead. He's gonna tell you. Go
who
ahead.
saved them out of the hand of their enemies.
Go ahead.
But after they had rest,
After we had rest,
they did evil again.
we kept going back to the same thing. So our enemies decided to, well, you guess what? We understand what y'all keep doing because we have a long-suffering God that was going to keep delivering us. What we're going to do is separate you from your God, make you forget who you are. So now we don't know who to call on. We lost the name of the Lord. So now it's time to come back because these are the last days. So now we got to call on the name of the Lord. We got to repent, keep his commandments. But first you got to rank.
Seems simple, huh?
It is. It really is that simple. It really
It
is.
that simple.
But we lost that way because we in
Yep.
these Christian churches and, you know, you see white man, Jesus hanging on that.
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
Christ had white woolly hair.
Yeah.
Looked like he was burned in a furnace.
Yeah.
But we've been lied to.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so now it's time to come back in these last days and start keeping these commandments. Simple. It's not hard. Exactly. Simple. Right? Got it? You got it?
I'm opening my book up.
Oh, praise. Y'all have we come out here on Saturdays and Sundays
Yeah,
from like
you
10?
guys here.
Yeah, we be out every like from 10 to 2. Stay out here, teach. If y'all have any questions you might have thought of.